Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Hold on one second. So it does not look like Instagram is working for us this morning. We're going to give that just a minute. Good morning, everyone. Apologize that we are running late. We had some technical difficulties today, but that happens. And so give me just a second. Let me see if I can get us on our Instagram. Okay, fantastic. All right. So you guys, happy Thursday. It is 9:30. Thank you all so much for joining us. I see folks checking in from all over. Congratulations, Marcy Diver, for having the day off. That sounds fantastic. And thank you so much for spending it with us. Welcome, everybody. As always, there's been just planes flying over our shop like all morning. So we're going to play the game. Start with our first question today. Are we going to hear an airplane during the show? And so answer yes if you think yes, no if you think no, and we'll see who the first winner is. Guys, it's like happening all the time. I never realized it. I'm like 3 miles from where we are and never realized exactly how many planes fly over this area, but holy cow. All right, Terry Cooper is the first to respond, and she says, yes, we're going to hear planes. I bet you Terry wins that drive. Okay. All right, so we're going to start, as we do every show, with questions that have been submitted by you guys. Yeah, Darren, 1842 on Instagram says yes. I am pretty sure that's going to be a yes. Amy, thank you for saying no. I appreciate that too. All right, so we're going to start with questions that have been submitted by you guys. Simply head to cottoncuts.com/live to submit your questions. These are handed to me. It is here when I sit down, and so we will all be surprised together. All right, fantastic. The first question comes to us from Tiffany Dawson. Good morning, Tiffany. From Winder, Georgia. I think, is it Winder or Winder? I don't know. You'll have to message us afterwards. And Tiffany's question is, what is the International Quilt Festival? Are there classes for quilters offered? Okay, so Tiffany, this is a great question and a super timely question. So every October and November in Houston, people gather for Quilt Market, and then a week later, Quilt Festival. And so these are two separate events, and oftentimes people, talk about them both interchangeably. So I want to make sure that everyone knows the difference between Quilt Market and Quilt Festival. So Quilt Market is a week before festival, and it is a show that is for quilt shop owners and industry insiders. So think pattern designers, fabric designers, manufacturers, to gather and talk about the latest tips and tricks and trends in the quilting industry. We go every year. This is something we've never missed in 8 years. And it's a great way to kind of see what's trending, see what's popular, see what's new and exciting, and make sure that we're bringing the freshest and best back to you guys. We meet with our sales rep from all of our fabric companies. We meet with new pattern designers that we're able to feature in our featured pattern designer program. This is how we met So Powerful, and some of our other charitable organizations actually had booths at Quilt Market. And it's a great way for us to just learn and stay fresh and make sure that we are on top of all of the things. Plus, it's a great way for us to network and, come up with fun collaborative projects that we might not have an opportunity to have done otherwise. Then, and classes. So there's classes for quilt shop owners as well that are offered during market that are very, like this year, there's something on AI, there's something on, merchandising, there's social media, there's a whole bunch of classes as well offered to make sure that we are staying fresh, because how many times would I have time to take out of my day to, take a class learning AI? So it's a fantastic opportunity to just get away. We will talk more about that as we approach the end of October, and I will talk to you guys about some of the things that I am looking forward to at Schoolhouse, which is always my favorite part. All right. Then a week later, it's Quilt Festival. And so this is one of the largest quilt shows in the United States. And it's made for you guys. It's made for quilters. And you guys get to go, and it's in the Houston Convention Center. And it is huge, the George R. Brown Center. And it is basically just an opportunity to sew and buy lots of tools and templates and fabric, and all in one place. So the vendors that go to Quilt Festival, I've had some friends that have vended, and they actually bring U-Haul trucks of goods and load it right up to the convention center. And so you're going to see vendors that you might not necessarily see close to you, or products that your local quilt shop doesn't necessarily offer. And there'll be demonstrations and takeaways. There is a smaller number of classes offered during festival. It is really truly meant to be a large quilting show for you to go and see new things and have an opportunity to try new things and buy new things as well. But those happen. They're coming up at the end of October, beginning of November. It is super fun. That we'll have tons of photos. We'll be sharing all the inspiration we see as well. So Tiffany, your question is timely. Thank you so much for asking it, and definitely stay tuned. All right. Our next question comes to us from Katie White from Eugene, Oregon. Thank you, Katie, for your question. How do I prevent wrinkles and bunching when quilting? Okay. So Katie, this is a good question. So I think, when you say wrinkles and bunching when quilting, I think there's, in my mind, when I hear that question, there's two ways in which you get wrinkles and bunching. And so there's when you're piecing, and then there is when you're actually quilting and making your sandwich with your top, your bottom, and your batting. And so I think the easiest way to prevent wrinkles and bunching when you're actually doing your piecing step is to make sure that you're pressing as early and often as possible. I know when you're kind of nesting a lot of seams together, they can kind of bunch together, and sometimes it slips and it overlaps. I think, going slow, taking your time, and consistently pressing, not ironing. Make sure that you're not using steam to stretch out your seams, that you're consistently ironing. You're using the same machine, so you're getting the same stitch width. All of those things will help when you're putting all of your stitches together, so nothing bunches, nothing jumps. I think there's also some elements there of, as quilters, we get in a hurry and we want to kind of pull our fabric through our machine to make it go faster. When you do that, your top and bottom layers can move at different speeds, and that's when they start to get misaligned and start to bunch and to wrinkle. So I think just being slow, taking your time, making sure you're letting the machine do the machine's job by pulling your fabric through, and then also just making sure you're pressing. I always use a dry iron. I know there's camps of dry irons, and there's camps of using water sprays, and there's camps of using steam. When I am piecing, I am always using a dry iron, so nothing accidentally stretches, and definitely press and lift, press and lift. Now, wrinkles and bunching when you're actually making your sandwich, when you have the three layers together, the top layer and the batting and the bottom layer. So that all comes down to a couple of factors. So how are you basting those layers together? How many safety pins are you using? How well did you iron the back, and how well did you iron the top? And when you put them together, how well measured are they? Everything's going to slip and move. That's just part of the nature of the process. And it's just a matter of minimizing the opportunity for it to become misaligned, to make sure that your top stays aligned with your back. I have found that I use spray basting, especially on smaller projects where I don't necessarily want to pin it as much. And that typically tends to put an adhesive to keep all three layers together, to make sure that they don't slide around on me. I have early on been bored using the safety pins, because that kind of hurts, and there's a lot of them, and you're on the floor and on your knees, and we're not as young as we used to be. And I've been burned by underpinning a project if I've used safety pins, which is why I've converted to a spray based. I usually have to take it outside to do that. I know that there's tons of fantastic tutorials out there about how to make the perfect sandwich. A lot of people use pool noodles. Some of them pin in sections and then roll on a table. When it comes to the basting step, there's a lot of helpful stuff out there. Now, Once you get that into the machine, you can baste it perfectly, but it can still slip and slide on you and your machine. And I think one of my biggest lessons learned was to make sure I'm using a walking foot. I know that sounds obvious to some people that have been quilting for a long time, but when I was first out, my first sewing machine did not come with a walking foot, and I couldn't understand why all the layers were moving at a different speed. And it's because the walking foot has feed dogs on it, and it actually goes at the same rate as the feed dogs in your sewing machine. And so it pulls the top and the bottom layers through together, so everything stays as close together as possible. And so walking feet was a game changer for me. I used to do kids quilts all the time, and I would sew one way and then go back the other way, and everything would be at a different kind of angle. And then the walking foot was a game changer. And so, as my husband says, you have to have the right tool for the job. Walking feet when quilting is definitely the right tool for the job. Okay, those are fantastic questions. If you guys have any other tips and tricks on how to prevent wrinkles and bunching when you're quilting, toss those in the comments. This is all a fantastic resource for all of us to share together. So if you have a question for me for next week, go to cottoncuts.com/live, and we will answer it here on the show to get us all started and get us all warmed up. All right. Don't forget, if you're watching us for the first time, make sure you're giving StreamYard permission so we can see your name, and so that way we can engage with you. I see lots of people that are checking in. Michigan, I see some East Coast. Good morning, So Terry. Thank you all so much for joining us. Don't forget to stay to the end of our conversation today. We're going to be giving away a $25 gift card to our shop by asking a very simple question that everyone can answer. Let's see here. Catherine is saying fabric is a living thing and it moves. So you have to watch it and rein it in. Yes. I feel like I mean, it's not quite like herding cats, but it definitely does tend to take a mind of its own. I don't know how that works on a cellular level. The scientist in me is wondering about the mitochondria perhaps, but it definitely moves on its own. All right. So let's jump into what's happening in the shop this week. Guys, it has been a fantastically productive week for us. We are getting settled in our new home. We're back in routine. And so everything for us is moving according to plan. So in the biggest news, we signed up for our Tim Holtz project this morning. I was reading the comments. So many people jumped on this morning. Some people jumped on yesterday and had early access. You guys, we're about 40 to 50% already sold out, and it's already been open for almost 2 hours. I am so happy about this. I can't wait to actually get the fabrics here in the shop so I can show these lovelies to you. They are beautiful. These projects are going to be a lot of fun. I am actually going to be sewing along with everyone else and kind of making these blocks and these pillows with everybody. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for your support on that. It is fantastic. And this is going to be super, super, super fun. All right. And so Paula has put the banner up, cottoncuts.com/Tim Holtz. Get in, because once it's sold out, guys. Like, I can't get more fabric from Free Spirit for this program. The way they've structured it is once we place our initial order, that's what we have. So if you miss out, I'm very sorry. You're going to have to wait for the next program we do. Let's see here. So Terry is saying we need cattle dogs in our sewing rooms. Let's see here. Yeah, Tree of Life, Danelle. Yeah, that's actually next on my list. Is Tree of Life is almost done, gang. We shipped Clue 8 about 2 weeks ago. And so coming up on my list is to talk about our reveal and our live and everything that goes along with that. But it is so close to done. And as always, Ian is doing his best to try and figure out the final design. He sent us over his image. He was close, not quite right. So we're going to give him a little bit more time to work on that. All right. We are also shipping our Stitchets. So those dropped on Sunday. 3 new collections. They're on the website. Get them while you can. We love our Stitchets, guys. We love the like concept of just being able to play like a kid. It is so much fun to just see what pops out and create. And I always like I feel like if you have someone, like, get your spouse, get your child, get your grandkid, and just let them play with it on a design wall and see what they come up with. That inspires me, because everyone sees these shapes differently and the possibilities they can create. Our classic box ships tomorrow. This is the preference. You tell us what you like, what you don't like, and we'll ship it to you. And so I actually have some of the fabrics here. This box is loaded with some of our favorite partners and designers. And so the first is Jason Yenter from In the Beginning. I know we've got a lot of Pacific Northwest folks who love In the Beginning. That's where it's actually headquartered and based at. And so this print, guys, normally I'm not a yellow orange fan. This one is a lot of fun. This one is super lovely and luscious. gorgeous and looks great together. We also have new Lori Holt. I know we've got some Lori Holt fans out there. If you're doing Josie for Wild West, I know you're a Lori Holt fan. We also have designs by Sarah J. She's a new designer for Andover. This is maybe her second or third collection. And I pulled this fabric out of the bunch because it has so much fun, like movement. I want to call it paisley, but it's not paisley because it's like paisley stacked on top of paisley on top of floral. It is a lot of fun, this print. I pulled that one out specifically. And then I am going to use this fabric to make some Halloween bags for my nieces, for my niece and my nephews, because as soon as we started cutting it, I thought, oh my gosh, that is so stinking cute. These little pumpkins like stacked on top of each other, like this would be a fantastic trick-or-treating bag. And then we also have this one with the pumpkins wearing little witches hats. Let me see if I can get them right side up for you guys. They are awesome. Danelle, so the name of the first collection, Pink, Purple, and Yellow. It is an In the Beginning fabric. I do not have the name of the collection, but while we go on, I guarantee you someone will help me get that for you. But it is In the Beginning by Jason Yenter. That is his newest collection. All right, we're getting ready for Wild West Clue 3. All right, so Paula wants me to remind everybody that once we ship Clue 3, signups for Wild West close. That's it. We don't take any more after Clue 3, which is next Friday. So if you've been on the fence about a colorway, if you think you might want to see something, someone's sewing something online, you got a friend over here that's doing something, you might want to get in those quickly, because once they're done, they go into the vaults. They go into, I'll call it the Disney vault. It's the Cotton Cuts vault, and we don't take any more signups after that. And so don't forget to get your borders and backing as well, because once next Friday comes, that's when we stop taking all the pre-orders for the borders and the backing, because we have to order those fabrics to make sure they're here to get to you guys in time. All right, so Danelle, to answer your question, that is called Oriental Garden for Jason Yenter by In the Beginning. So it is absolutely lovely. Take a look at it online as well. All right. So with Tree of Life coming to an end, it means it's time to start thinking about our next Puzzle Mystery Quilt. Guys, we've been doing this for a long time, 2 a year is what we do. And so it's interesting because we're like just now getting started with Wild West, but we have to start thinking about the next one. And so I have a theme to share with you guys for joining me this morning. And so our theme for our next Puzzle Mystery Quilt is called Flyway. And so I've talked a few shows ago about migrations and about animals moving in paths. We talked about whales. And so what we've done is, by looking at the design, is we've nailed in on flyway, which is a phrase that's used to describe the migratory patterns of birds. So we're going to go totally science and geeky on this one. We're moving away from flowers. We're moving away from Western themes. And oh, sorry. All right. We heard playing, guys. Sorry. So I'm so used to hearing it. They literally have to like yell at me to get my attention. Okay. So yeah, so the theme is flyway. And so we're going to focus on bird migratory patterns. When we looked at the design, that really kind of struck with us. So be on the lookout for your favorite birds in the next mystery. We will have a lot more on that coming up in November and December. You guys are not going to miss it. All right. And also our snippets ship this week. And so don't forget, you can order them in your favorite Wild West colorways. This is a new program we're doing because you guys asked, can we get a snippet and a colorway, perhaps a colorway I'm doing for the mystery quilt, or perhaps a colorway I wanted to do that sold out. So when we die cut, right, we have lots of leftover fabrics that you can put together. And if you're scrappy and if you don't mind using small pieces and getting out your iron, here's Gold Rush and here's Saloon. We have a few on the website still. I think almost all of them are sold out. We still have kind of a small amount left, but we're going to do that for the next 6 months. And then we're going to put a sunset on that. And then you're going to start to see some flyway colorways in snippets. Oh, there's another plane, gang. Like 2 real fast here, right? Did everyone heard that? Okay, good. That wasn't just me. So we've already had 2 planes, guys. So if you said yes, dun, 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 dun. All right. So I'm seeing a question here. Beth is asking, if I paid in full, will the border be shipped to me with Clue 10? Yes. And so we do this. We do all the borders and all the backing with Clue 10, no matter how you pay. This is one of these things, it's just easier for our team as we look at our production flow to save those until the end and mail them all at the same time versus trying to make them all for Clue 1. And when we're trying to get all those out, we definitely don't want to hold anyone's whole quilts up because of a border or because of a backing kit. So we save all of those to the end and we mail them all at once. And also, you don't really, that's another thing to get lost. To me, I'm always like, so we have the backing here, should we mail it now? And I'm like, I feel like it's going to get lost. And so I want to set everyone up for maximum success. So we give you the borders and the borders and the backing kits when you need them. So that way it doesn't get lost. It would definitely get lost for me. So Terry said she couldn't hear the plane. That's okay. I'm sure there will be another one before we are done. All right. Let's see here. So what we wanted to talk about today is we wanted to talk about our monthly Zoom sew-ins. So this has been something that Cotton Cuts has been doing for about 3 to 4 years now. And so we gather everyone that's available on a Thursday night. It's the third Thursday of the month, which just happens to be today, from 7 to 8:30. And so we have a Zoom link. And anyone that's working on anything related to Cotton Cuts can gather and connect for community. And so, we've been doing this for a long time and we're like, we should really kind of give this a name. Like it is a thing. It is a fantastic group of people that join us. And so we are rebranding this the Cotton Cuts Sewciety, right? We like a good pun here. So it's the Cotton Cuts Sewciety. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about, what is the purpose of this? Why are we doing this? And then why is it important that we are doing it? And so when we do this, it is a great opportunity for anyone who's working on a PMQ to share tips and tricks. So, we have a lot of people that are like, hey, I'm needing help with this, or hey, I think my fabrics are out of place. By gathering with a group of people who are all working on the same project, you can get tips and tricks. You can also, we've had people join and show us their modern maker project. And so they took the fabrics and they challenged themselves to do a pattern they'd never done before. And they sewed it at the sew-in and then showed everyone what they were able to make with their fabrics. It's a good opportunity to troubleshoot together. I have been on Zoom sew-ins and all of a sudden my machine breaks. And then, in that moment, you kind of forget the checklist you're supposed to go through. And hey, can you try this? Hey, did you look at this? Hey, show me. And let's see what we're looking at. It's also a great way to get support, right? We're all humans, right? We all have highs, we all have lows, and it's a great way to celebrate kind of the highs that happen in life in general. And it's also a way to get support in lows, right? Sewing is a way to kind of escape those things that might perhaps be a distraction. And it's a good way to just kind of get back to being joyful and being in a community. It's also a good way to make friends. And so we have, I think there's about 8 to 10 people that join us every time. And this is a group of people that did not know each other at all before we started this. And now they meet with us and then they meet independently and they have chats and they have messages. And so they've formed, groups outside of this. And that is what we love, is it's meant to be, making friends and building community. And so when we were thinking about this, this is something we've done for a while. We're like, why is this important, right? And you guys know me, I'm a pretty academic, geeky person. And so when did this become a thing? When did people start gathering in groups and sewing? And so when I was looking in the United States, people have been gathering for sewing since the 1800s, right? You're making a quilt, you're sewing it by hand. It's long, it's laborious. It's a great way to invite people over and help you finish a project. So it was seen as a social gathering, much like harvesting, much like, cooking large batches of food. People would gather and sew projects together. And it wasn't until the Civil War that these sewing groups really started to formalize. And so groups would gather at structured days and times to sew bandages for soldiers, no matter which side of the Civil War you were on. And so after the war, they're like, this is a great idea. We really liked getting together at a set time, at a set place, come if you can. And so then it migrated into a lot of the formal women's organizations that we see today. So Junior League, a lot of sororities started as an offshoot of these sewing groups that formed after the Civil War. A lot of debutantes were then their graduating class formed a sewing circle that then they would produce, gather and sew together. And so today, It's in lots of different fashions. For us, it takes place over Zoom. I know there's a lot of groups, a lot of guilds. I'm part of 2 guilds as well that meet on a reoccurring basis and have subgroups, and it's become a thing, but it really has its roots over 200 years ago. And so to me, I like learning that history. I wanted to share that with you. But I think, you know, from a more like, why has this endured for so long type of thing, Paula gave me some talking points, so I can share these all with you guys as well. And so, you know, when we gather to quilt and to sew, it's through a common love of quilting. And so she has this note in here as well that I found fascinating, right? So when you're in school, when you're kind of thrown together with people who just live close together, you have different interests, you have different hobbies, you're kind of forced together just because you live in the same area and are approximately the same age. But when we gather through a shared love of a hobby or a craft, it's more meaningful and it's deeper, right? Because those folks that typically like quilting, like there's some wiring that is so similar in us that it connects us together in a stronger fashion. All right, so let's see here. There's some questions. Thankfully, Diane is here with us. So Diane is an OG Sewciety member, and so she's helping us answer these questions. Thank you, Diane. Stay here, don't go anywhere. And I know you saw that in the beginning fabric, and I know you're loving it. All right. The next thing is finding others that love sewing and quilting so we can share new fabric and new things. So I started out talking about Quilt Market. That is a way for me to gather with quilt shop owners and see new and see fresh. And when we gather in a sewing circle, one of my favorite parts is always, always, always show and share. I love seeing, hey guys, I went to a shop in Idaho and I found this awesome fabric. What do you think I should make with it? Hey, I, saw a tutorial online with this clipper tool and I love it and I can't wait to start using it and here. And so that way you expand your learning base with the people that are around you, right? It's just expanding what you can see in here. I go to market, I go up and down every single aisle every day, and I still miss things, which is why I always take members of my team because they see things I don't. And by having that group, you can see and learn more faster than you can on your own. Go faster together. Go further together. Family members have reunited through sewing. And so this is something that I love seeing in our group, the number of people that are multi-generational sewing on our projects. We will have grandma, mom, and child all sewing the same project together. And then they gather and they finish them. And so it's an interesting way. And I like it when I see mothers and daughters, mothers and sons, grandparents and grandkids sewing and finishing these projects together. And when I think about this, I think about, I taught my kids to sew. We all know Dominic, the boy who sews, right? And so sewing connected me to him in a different fashion. And he loves it now, and he loves sharing all of that with you. When we do something we love together, we form a special unbreakable bond. And I feel like sewing is a conduit for connection. And in a world where there's a lot of divisive topics in the world, where we are oftentimes divided, I feel like sewing is a means for a common grounds for us to have good, like foundational conversations and connect as humans versus based upon our political beliefs or some other things that might divide us. And so I like that sewing and quilting connects us on a human level. Find the right people to do life with can change your life. And so this is, Paula was so like feeling all the love when she was putting together this list, but this is absolutely true. So finding the right people to do life with can change your life. And so, you are heavily influenced by the people you surround yourself with. And I actually just had my soccer team last night. And I coached Dominic's soccer team. They're 12 and 13-year-old boys. I've been coaching them for 7 years. And I had the opportunity to tell them about a time where the kids on the bench were being very negative and how much that negativity influenced the entire soccer team. And so, I told them that they have a choice when they're on the bench and they can choose to be positive. And by being positive, they can change their soccer team. And so you can choose how you show up, and that can influence the people around you. And sure enough, as soon as the bench changed their attitude in the last 10 minutes, we scored 2 goals and won the game. And so it's a good kind of life example of finding the right people around you will help change your mindset and can put you in a better place. All right. Let's see here. It looks like Erin Promes she loves hanging out and sewing with her mom. Sew together any chance we can. Yeah, I love sewing with my kids. And it's just a fun kind of, hey, we got a Saturday afternoon together. What are we going to do? Go get the sewing machines. We've got the power strip out. Let's all sew something together. Patty Grattan is saying her sister and her were estranged for a year and have been brought together by quilting. Patty, that is amazing. That's a common language that can, it takes down those barriers that might divide us. And so I love that, Patty. I'm glad you're able to reconnect with her. And let's see here. And so this is the part that I really like, is that quilting can be borderless. And so quilting is truly a world craft. There are people all over the world that quilt. And so one of the things I love about our Zoom sewing and what we do about cotton cuts is we're based in the US, but we've never been exclusive to the US. We definitely try to support as many of our international quilters as possible. So we actually have people that participate outside the US in our Zoom sew-alongs. We ship to 15 different countries a month, and we worked really hard to make sure we can include as many people outside the US as possible. So we found creative ways to package, creative ways to ship. And with these Zoom sew-ins, the technology has enabled us to be able to include people in different time zones together. One of my favorites is we have 2 longtime detectives. And so one lives in Seattle and one lives in Australia. And so every month they get their PMQs together and they get on a Zoom and they open it up and they sew it together. And these are 2 people that used to work together. They, raised their kids together, and one moved abroad. And because of the technology, because of the program, because of quilting, they're able to set that monthly time and be diligent and get together and connect. I know a lot of us, if we don't have the shared hobby connection, if we leave jobs, if we move out of town, we can lose that connection. But by quilting and by setting that time, we're very deliberate and we're able to get together. All right, so Cotton Cuts is super happy to enable this connection for all of these reasons. It's more than just, for me, this business, this company has never been about just selling fabric. It's all about the experience. It's all about providing programs and the accomplishment of sewing together and doing more than you thought you could do, but doing it with other people that you like and enjoy spending time with. And so when we started this sew-along, this was really kind of the sweet spot, is seeing everyone come together face to face and being able to work on things together. And so it's all just part of our continued, we want to do good things for good people and put good things out into the world. And so I'm seeing questions about how do we become part of the Zoom. So on the screen, there's a bit.ly. It's also pinned in our Facebook group. It's bit.ly/PMQ Zoom. And when you click on that, you can join our Zoom. It's tonight at 7 o'clock Central, 7 to 8:30. And join us. It doesn't matter what you're working on, what you're sewing on. We've had people join and they're like like Diane. I love Diane. She's in the comments as well. She's done hand stitching at the farm when she's been outside on a beautiful night. You guys, it's really just an opportunity to gather around a common theme and just learn and connect with everybody. Okay. So I'm seeing that there's people talking about technology, bringing people together. And yes, when it works, it's awesome. So Terry, yes. And I feel like the pandemic accelerated this. This is one of the things that the pandemic did accelerate because we had to connect in a virtual fashion. I still like connecting in person, but I appreciate the virtual connections we're able to make as well. So on that topic, we've already talked about Tree of Life. When we launch, when we finish a mystery, when we have the big reveal, we always host a Zoom sew-in the day after, because you've sewed all these months together, and we want everyone to be able to gather and problem solving the mystery together. Yes, you can do it on your own. Yes, you can get a design wall. Yes, you can put it together, but it's always so much more fun to be able to sew it and be like, oh my gosh, did I do this right? And then have a group of people to help you fix it. And so we give everyone the day after the reveal. So the reveal this time is going to be November 1st at 1 o'clock. There'll be a sew-in day on November 2nd from 10 to 2. So gather all your clues. Everyone will have the instructions, and we'll be able to sew them all together. And it's a fun opportunity to just gather and finish these quilts together. We want you guys to finish. We're not one of those like, hey, buy our products, and then sit on a shelf somewhere. I like seeing the finished stuff, guys. That makes me happy. That inspires me. And that's something I definitely want us to look at and go forward with. All right, let's see here. Shelly is talking about how she had a potentially negative experience with a Zoom sew-in. And so if that happens, you can come back out to the main room and we will re-break everybody up. Shelly, that's definitely, we want to make sure everyone has a positive experience. And so we can have different breakout rooms depending on what's going on. Yeah, I know there's a group of people and they all know each other really well. And so we try to break up into different rooms. And I actually just had a conversation with someone yesterday about virtual sew-ins and how you have to like break the rooms up and keep them moving around. So Shelly, that is fantastic feedback. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, and we will work to improve it. So the Zoom sew-in is once a month on Thursday nights, Shelly. And so if you head to our website, if you head to the Facebook group, it is always the third Thursday at 7:00 p.m. Central Time. Thank you. And I think we're still in daylight time for this month. And for next month, our time change is in November in the United States. And so for tonight, since we're talking about it and spending all this time talking about it, we're going to be giving away prizes tonight. And so I will be your host tonight. I'm going to be your MC. And so we're going to be giving away prizes. And I know before I leave today, we will have a stack of fantastic stuff to give you. And is the super sneak peek. So hang in with me for this long. You guys are going to be the first to hear that starting in 2025, Cotton Cuts is going to be doing quilt retreats. Some of them will be in person and some of them will be virtual. So you guys are definitely going to want to stay tuned for that. This is going to be a ton of fun. All right. What time is it here now? So it is, so the laptop I'm looking at is not set to the time zone, but it is 10:10 a.m. here right now. All right. So our giveaway question. So find this video on Instagram, on Facebook, or on YouTube and answer the question. Tell us how sewing with a friend or family member has played a role in your quilting journey. So I know some of you have already shared that. Definitely find the video, comment again. We're going to pick one lucky winner to enter to win a $25 gift card to our shop. That could definitely be used towards a Tim Holtz pillow or a Stitch It. So you are going to want to tell us how sewing with a friend or family member has played a role in your quilting journey. All right, so our last reminders, big reveals coming up November 1st. Signups close for Wild West next Friday. Definitely get in on that. I think we are still in our National Sewing Month giveaway on Instagram, and our mega daily giveaway. You are definitely going to want to hang out for that, is still ongoing. So hopefully you've been following that journey on Instagram. And so my last thing before I sign off from everyone is that next week we're going to be talking about Rosa's Holiday Your Way. This is, oh my gosh, you guys, like we've taken what we've done before and we've added to it and we've twisted and we've turned and we made it awesome and great. And so next week you are going to learn all about Rosa's Holiday Your Way. You are going to want to mark your calendars, 9:30 a.m. Central Daylight Time, and join me here to learn about all the fantastic new things. All right. So with that, I am done. I will see you guys tonight at the Zoom sew-in, and I will see you guys next week to talk all about Rosa. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your week. Thank you so much, and happy sewing, everyone. Bye now. And cut. Thank you so much for watching our video. We have so much fun making these, and we hope that you were both delighted and inspired by what you just watched. This video was sponsored by Cotton Cuts. Cotton Cuts is your one stop for all the best fabric and thread memberships. Love fabric? We've got you covered. Love thread? We've got you covered. We get that no two quilters are cut from the same cloth, which is why our memberships are as unique as you. We also have the largest block of the month in the world. Over 4,000 detectives solve our puzzle mystery quilts every year, and you can join them. Simply go to cottoncuts.com to learn more about all the awesome and fun things that we're doing. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe to make sure you get all of our new fresh content every time it comes out. Thank you so much. Happy sewing enthusiasts, and we will see you soon. Bye now.